When I say our Creator made me see Him 8 times, that means I know more than you. To learn what I know will take your belief to a trust. I will teach you the true truths about our Father and the true truths about Jesus, our King in heaven. By reasoning out the words in the text, Jesus never walked on the water. In the description below, you'll find links to my other videos. What I want to do here is pull up the text here, and let me see everything set up. Okay, I'm looking a little reddish today here. Okay, these are the verses I'm going to go over. Okay, and the story starts out abruptly, and just he made the disciples get into the boat. This is where Jesus actually got done feeding many people. So this text here we don't need to discuss and get that out of the way. Now, what you see is the words highlighted here, other side. Now, you have to understand what Israel looks like, the geographic layout of the land, and to understand the story. And so to put the other side, I had to put this verse in here, and I know it's a little later, but this is when they crossed over, okay? Because it's talking about going ahead of him to the other side, and then then the story is going to be talking about when he got over to the other side. But I also wanted to look at this verse here that I've got highlighted in blue. The word mountain here is actually, oops, let me change colors. This word is not very truthful, just like these other words over here, other side. What I want to do is I want to take you onto the internet and show you the layout here of the land. And you can see in this first image over here, it might be a little bit, let's see if I can get closer. This is saying it's 1,500 feet, and you can see this mountain here, but you can also see that this area here is very high. It's almost 400, maybe even more meters higher than other land that you even see in Israel. In fact, you only see one spot that's dark, and yet you can see all this here area is darker. Let me see if I can find another image that shows this as well. Okay, here's a real good one here. You can see this here area is Jordan, and it is higher than anything here. Let's see. I can go to, okay, let's go to, whoops. Let's go to this one here. Now here, that mountain is the White Cap Mountain that I showed you, and I think that's like 9,000 feet in elevation. And then if you look, here's, let me see if I can, oops, gotta get rid of that. And let me see if I click on it and get to it. Okay, you can see here that the Golden Heights are higher than anything in Israel. In fact, Jordan is that 600 feet higher than Israel. So there are no mountains to say in Israel. This is a really good picture here to show the difference. Take a look at this. The Dead Sea is way down here. This is where John was preaching. So when Jesus ascended to Jerusalem, you can see what they were meaning after he went to Jericho. Jericho is located here or here. I'm not sure which one right off the bat, but you have to understand what the land looks like, because the story will say ascend or descend, okay, because he ascended into Israel. Let's take another look here. where I guess, okay, here's a good one. You can see that they've expanded here this 500 feet that I showed you from the last map, 600. But this is showing you there is no mountains in Israel. Okay, now being a hill country, there's a top of a hill, yes, but it is no mountain at all. In fact, I believe it was right about here that Moses was sent by our Creator to overlook the hill country of Israel. So even there, that text says Israel is a hill country. Now, when it comes to understanding the other side, let me get to a map here that is mine that I made. This here shows the promised land. This here is the true promised land. This here area was what Moses gave to the sons as of promised land. And as you can see here, let me blow this up a little bit. Here is what there are different mounts in the text itself that are written and that have stories, but there is also a mount down here. And that's very important because actually it's all this area right in through here that is known as Edom. That would be the sons from Esau, Jacob's brother. But the object here is let me get to another map. And these maps are mine. I've got there's a website that actually allows you to have the land and then you have to draw everything else about it. I will mention that or show you that later in another video. But the object is that let's use this color here. Jesus is in Capernaum or near Capernaum when he's sending the disciples out, because the story says that the people that were following him, that he fed them. Well, that would have to be in a big field. So somewhere outside, somewhere right in here is where I believe this is where he fed those people. And if it says the other side, that means from here, or from here to here is the other side. And we know that that's not where he went. We know the other side that he went to is over here. And so he went to this being the Jordan River right here. See, this being the Jordan River, this was kind of the dividing line between the three territories or regions that were at the time when Jesus was walking the land. I'll show you that and then get back to this. Because it's hard to understand the text unless you absolutely know the layout, so you understand the words, what's going on. These are the three territories. Now, there was no territory or region. I guess these are regions, the word's region. When King Herod, the first Herod, who they say is a king, but he's under the emperor of Rome, or they also called him a Caesar. But the object is that no king would have existed over this land. He would have been sent there as a governor and not a king, and this was all one. But by the time as Jesus grows up, the story shows that there's three regions. I've changed this one region of the text to make it simple to understand. It starts with the letter I, but everyone would know that this is the Jordan when you were speaking about the promised land on the east side of the Jordan River. Now this area here they call Galilee. Now I've changed that to mean Israel because actually the text does pretty much divide the land. Example, the next Herod is going to be the governor of this area, and down here Pilate is the governor of this area. So to make it simple and to understand when you're reading the text, it's the old kingdom of Israel, even though this side would have been the kingdom of Israel. These are the three regions. Even though you got to understand that they call this Galilee, and it's confusing. No Israeli writer would have wrote it that way. Let me get back to this map here because it's important to understand that here this city here is mentioned in the text below, and I want to show you that real quick. See it down here? This is the city that they're talking about that they had crossed over to. Now you can't overcross if you're over here or up in this region here. It just doesn't make sense how they would cross over here. It'd be almost quicker to walk the land than it would be to get in a boat and row. But the truth is that they're going over to this region over here, and that is in the text showing that this is a region over here. And like I said, this is the Jordan River that divides it, the two regions. So this is where Jesus meets, depends on which story you read. Either he meets two people that have demons, or he meets one that has a legion of demons. Okay, but this is where this is going to happen. Now, so the text is this way makes more sense when we get into reading the rest of the text and understanding the words that are there. So let's get back to this text here, and I'm going to get rid of this. We no longer need that, but we need to correct the story to understand what's going on here. All these little yellows needed correction, and immediately is not a good follow-up word. The word would be then he made, and I will do this as I highlight, I add the green, and then it would be this that is not needed in the text to be truthful. He didn't immediately, then it happened, then he made who? Well, we're going to put in Jesus here. Okay, he didn't made them, he told them or instructed them or even commanded them. I could use, whoops, where'd I go? Okay, he told them. Like I said, other words can be used here. Now the disciples got into the boat. Now, fishing boats were used by 2, maybe 3-man boats, okay? But they had the fishing nets that they would string out, and then they needed a place to put the fish when they were gathered. So I wouldn't say they were putting them on the floor of the boat. They would have been putting them into maybe like a barrel or 2 that they've got there, maybe even 3. But the boat is not large enough for 12 disciples. Therefore, we need to change this into 2 boats. Okay, there had to be 2 boats. Now, people are arguing right now, going, what are you changing that for? Well, when you think reasonable, you can reason with logic that it has to be 2. You can't have 12 people in a small boat. If the boat could carry 12 people, and this boat most likely had the nets there and the barrels in it to put the fish, this would be almost impossible to get 12 people into the boat, let alone having them row a boat that would be large enough for 12. So truthfully, it has to be 2 boats. Okay. Now, the word and isn't correct. It needs to be 2 go ahead of him to the other side. Now, this should have been other region. Okay. That would have been more truthful. And while he sent the multitude, not S, you don't need multitudes to be multitudes, because at that time, actually you'd have to figure out how many people actually existed on the land of these 3 regions. And when you start running the numbers of the population on that land, we don't have millions of people, okay? We've got to have less than 1 million people in these 3 regions. So just keep that in mind when you're reading the stories. Let's see, and the boat, yeah, we don't need the word boat or but, and the boat was already many. Now this word here is a measurement for Roman miles. So what I'm going to do is just put in the word miles there, away from the land, and this is talking about the boat. And the boat was, and let's see. Let me see down here how I have it corrected. Okay. I left it as a blank here, which you showed could be a region. Oh, I had to add fishing boats. Okay. I did a lot more correcting here. So there were 2 fishing boats, so specifically to understand what the boats are. Then you can see I changed the word multitude to crowd. Now here I had to add the S for the boat. Let's see, add the S, needed to have the word were there. The boats were a mile away. Had to add both these words here to be word specific, away from the land. And they were being, I had to add all this text here, okay? And they were being battered by the waves. Now, what does that mean? It means whitecaps. If a boat is getting battered, it means it's getting hit hard with waves. And waves on a lake that big easily can be whitecaps. So the words here are whitecaps are being battered by the waves, or the understanding should be that they're whitecaps. And the wind was contrary, and for the wind was contrary, meaning the waves were coming at them. Now, what I want to do is show you, let's see, I have to double click to get all that off, and then I want to show you, let's see, where is it? I might have to search for this one, because I wasn't really going to get into how the text can be changed correctly, and I'll show you the deceiving of what's going on here. Okay, I think I'm closer here. Nope. Sorry, but I want to show you why I can add the word contrary. Okay, here it is. Is it out of my face here? Yes. Okay. This is the word contrary over here. Okay. Now over here, this is the Greek word in English letters. Okay. And down here, the New American Standard Concordance for 1977. And by the way, that's all the text that I will be using in all my videos, because this concordance told me that in this little group here, parentheses, that's how many times they used this word against. And then they used the word once for before. And now you can see that they use the word contrary twice. Okay. But to understand that when I'm adding the word against, a lot of times they could have used the word against. They purposely used the word contrary. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking the text and I'm putting it back as against them. Okay. And by being against them, we know we're talking about the wind now coming from this direction. There's so much extra information when you start understanding the story and how truthful, when you realize what the text is saying, as long as you understand the stories and where they start and where they go. And I know it's confusing because a lot of, out of the 4 books, every story has 2 different ways to be able to be said. But the object here is just by this knowledge that we're going to this other region, we know the direction. And if the waves were against them, then this is the direction of the wind. Or in this direction or this direction, anything from in through here, we can say logically, and very reasonably logically, this is the direction of the wind. Now this, like I said, is 10 miles, maybe I didn't say that, but it's 10 miles wide. So when the text says a mile, or maybe more, it could have been miles, because I'm thinking this would be probably about what? To be accurate, if that's 10, that's 5, that would be 3, that would be 4 miles. From here to here, the right triangle, people, the 2, 3, or 3, 4, 5 triangle. So it's about 4 miles across, and what we're having here is Jesus is going to be coming to them somewhere in here, but the wind is against them. See how easy it is to figure things out when you really study the text and want to be truthful. Okay, now in the night, we don't need to know what the watch is. That's just extra text that's not needed. At night, he, Jesus, to make this story truthful, instead of me saying he all the time, I would like to know who we're talking about, and it's Jesus when we're reading these things. He came to them, whoops, hold on a second. I didn't want to sneeze and blow up the microphone in your ears, so sorry about that. He came to them walking. Now we know that they're white caps. Was Jesus walking up and down every white cap? And for those of you that really know what's going on, that the water is actually moving slowly in the direction of that wave, just the surface. But the object is, if you threw something in the water, you'd see it bobbing up and down through the whitecaps, and then it would be moving towards the wind is pushing it in that direction. But you have to understand that these whitecaps is Jesus literally walking up and down and up and over every one of these whitecaps. Logically, does not make sense. Okay. And the word is sea that they use here, and that's wrong. It's a freshwater lake, so it's water. And when the disciples saw him, they said walking. I don't agree with the word walking on the water. They were frightened, and they didn't start saying, they shouted, "It is a ghost." Now I've added these words here, so if we remove those words, this is what the text would say: it is a ghost. Now if you're a writer of this text and you already know it is Jesus that they're talking about, you do not disrespect him by you saying or using the words "it is." Okay. He is a ghost, because they would have recognized Jesus in as his form coming to them. Now this is a big clue. What does a ghost do? A ghost floats or glides over the water. So now you know the truth that Jesus never walked on the water. Jesus was gliding just over the top of the whitecaps. Okay, so there is the proof that you turn this video in, or wanted to watch this video. It's that he was gliding over the water. He never walked on the water. A ghost does not walk. A ghost glides. So now you know the real truth of why I can change these two words into word gliding. Okay, and I don't need this text. This is this is already here. And then Jesus said, he doesn't. We know who they're yelled. We know they who they were in the two fishing boats. Do not be afraid of me. Doesn't need to say take courage. That doesn't need to be added extra words. So this is the text. Now let me see if I can clean it up here. I think I might have later, but I can see that I'm going to take you someplace else here when I do this. But let's clean the text up so see what it looks like now. This may take a second, but the text is now truthful, and it's a lot easier to read when it's truthful. I wanted to put region here. And some might argue that I should have used multitude, but that's okay. But, oops, getting a little carried away there. Yes, I know I could have used the find and remove a lot quicker, but would have removed too much. Came to him gliding. And I would add just over. And I have to get rid of the word on over the water. Or should I add the word waves? I think that's a better word, waves, than just water here, because now we know what he's doing. I like that a lot better. And what you can do is take a screenshot of this before and after just to see if that's how you would edit the text. What was over the waves? And definitely get rid of the disrespect for Jesus when you do this. Otherwise, I don't know if you're really following Jesus. The text has got to honor Jesus. When the disciples saw him gliding over the waves. Now that is the truth, okay? It's the way I'm reasoning it out. I know you might not like the two fishing boats. I understand that. The changing of the word crowd from multitude. But what we're doing here is trying to just talk about how Jesus never walked on the water. With the white caps out there just proves that he could not be walking on the water. He'd have to be up and down skipping. If anybody who's ever been by a lake or on a lake when you have white caps, you know what I'm talking about. Because the text was saying that they were being battered by the waves. That's big waves, okay? Now, when it came down to, oh, I did clean it up here. Okay, let's go over the word "it is" a ghost in the other Bibles to see if they edited out "it is." Let's see if they give respect. This is going to show if other Bible editors caught what I'm talking about here and respected Jesus with these two words here. But first I cleaned it up. Here you can see I just colored the text. That's something that I do to show that Jesus, or what Jesus is doing, and what he said. That's the way I respect and honor Jesus in the text. I don't follow the proper English by putting capital letters in at the first of the sentence because they're not needed. English wasn't even invented at this time, or even spoke at this time. I'm not sure when English was actually, when we can say that it was actually a language common enough to where writing was involved. But anyways, okay, yeah, and these were the words that were missing, and to get down to this city that he never went to, because it was along the coast and it wasn't across the water or across to the other region. Okay. The New American Standard has, when you go on BibleHub.com and you search, sometimes it gives you the same book or same Bible but different years, and you can see that these are all the same for them. And right now I'm not seeing any of these Bibles respecting Jesus. It's funny how none of the editors want to take this word out. Let's see, they got the word "it's" here. It's a ghost. If you know the story, the word should be able to be changed correctly. You would not disrespect our Jesus, our King. Now, here, allusion was used by this Bible. This is the latest American King James. This one's 2018, okay? And yet all of these are the word "it's." An apparition. Wow, okay, that's strange. But there, one Bible right there. He was a ghost. Somebody actually respected Jesus. Isn't that great? One. And nobody really buys this book, okay? So, but I just wanted to go over the text here, pretty much explain why Jesus never walked on the water. And now you know the truth. It's not an easy thing to change your opinion until you understand what I am reasoning out from the text. Because what I'm going to do is start editing the text in the four Gospels and correct every verse. Go right straight through and show the knowledge that our Creator has given me to show you all these little words like the word mountain. Try to explain why it's two boats instead of just one boat. To have more accuracy in the text, as you can see by understanding the layout of the land, the regions. I went into detail to explain the things that I know that are completely wrong, so you can't say, well, he's just saying something and then not backing it up. I hope that as I go forward, and those that follow with me or follow the videos will understand that I don't need to keep repeating this in depth all the time. It's going to be hard for me to say when I said something that needs to be changed for this reason, but I also wanted to let you know, just like the word contrary, they could actually use the word against as they did in other verses. So with that said, I think I'll get on to the next video.